We're having a discussion about whose asses can fit on what couch. Please bear with us.
Gavin's like half a human, so we'll go on the tiny one.
Like quarter us.
Hi, Australia.
Wow. This crowd goes deep.
I feel like this is everyone in Australia.
Well, we're super excited to be here, and can't thank you guys enough for letting us come down here and invade for a couple days. I didn't know that this place was going to be this cool. This is an awesome facility. It seems like everywhere you go in Australia, it's like an amazing building or amazing architecture. And I think you guys must be used to it, but we're not. Coming from Texas, it's like everything is a strip mall in Austin. So this is really fun. Who got to go to the Lazer Team premiere last night? We got a couple of you people? Awesome. So I think we're gonna talk some about Lazer Team and doing a Q&A, but for those of you up front who saw the movie, try not to spoil it for everybody else. I know that'll be hard to avoid spoilers.
Yeah, and I just want to say, if anybody is watching the Twitch live stream as well, and you have any questions about Lazer Team, you can tweet them at, I guess just tweet them at me, at Bernie. So.
Nice plug.
Yeah, you like that? I just worked that in, didn't I? I'm sure there's a hashtag I'm supposed to use, but I don't know what it is, so just tweet at me.
So, we actually got to see the movie. Also, one of the things we talked about last night was how many people here, raise your hand or stand up if you're back there, contributed to the Indiegogo campaign? I did. Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
That is pretty incredible. Thank you so much for everybody who did that. I mean, the movie obviously would not have been made without you guys. And it was no surprise to us that Australia was the #1 country backing the movie.
What is that? Is that us?
Hello.
It was.
You guys beat Croatia resoundingly.
It was fairly close.
It was fairly close.
It was between Australia.
Lithuania was a close 51st.
And the UK was second, and I think it was like a margin of victory by like 5 or 6%, and that was it.
Let's just say the UK fucking hates you guys. They're pissed.
They got nothing. Yeah, they gotta go watch like a year-old version of the Hunger Games this year. That's all they get now.
Do we have? Can we play video? Eric, do you know? Can they play video?
Why would we have? Maybe better not to say until we know whether or not we can play it.
Yeah.
Because we would just hate to describe how cool the video is to you guys. That's not the same experience.
Yeah.
So first of all, why don't we introduce everybody who's up here, and we'll talk a little bit about what they did on the film. Chris, we'll start with you.
Hello, I'm Chris. So I'm one of the writers and editors, and I have a small part in the movie too, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm Aaron. I'm edited the movie, and I guess my voice is in it, and my hands. So, yeah.
I think, Aaron, it's your fault that you weren't in the movie. Because I tried to put you in like 50 different scenes.
It absolutely was. And there's always something going on. And I was like,
you were always like, oh, my calendar's full, Matt.
cut to
I
me
really
sleeping,
can't.
and I'm just like, oh.
But Aaron's voice does make it into as editors. Chris, Aaron, and Josh were like working on the movie for like, I don't know how many months.
3, I think.
Right? And there was a lot of little small lines that get said that you hear in the background. You hear them in movies all the time, and you probably don't think about them, and they're not recorded when the movie actually happens. But like little things, like you'll be at a party scene or something, and somebody will be yelling off screen. And that was Aaron. And for the most part, I think you had like 100 or 200 lines in the movie.
Because you had to re-record those lines.
And then we tried to find them and remove them all at the final mix process.
And you didn't get all of them.
I know I didn't get nearly all of them.
I hear 1 or 2, and I'm just like, yes.
I think it might be a couple times still where you imitated Colton, and he was not happy about that.
Colton multiple times ran into me and was just like, you never imitate my voice again, please. Please never do it.
Okay. So I stopped us in the middle of doing intros. Sorry about that. So I'm Matt.
Let's wrap them up. Okay, go ahead.
We'll wrap up the intros. I'm Matt, directed the movie. And I was originally cast as Adam the Champion. You can see from the physique you know, and the square jaw, that would have been a great choice.
Yeah, but then our Indiegogo campaign crossed $100, so we could
Yeah.
get somebody else to play the role.
Thanks for nothing.
I'm Bernie. I'm the most important person at Rooster Teeth. Gavin?
I'm Gavin. I play Woody, aka Helmet Boy.
I'm Michael, and I play Zach, aka the best person in the movie.
Yeah, I gotta say, Gavin probably had, I didn't say probably, he had the worst piece of equipment in the movie. The helmet was by far, watching Gavin get into that thing was a nightmare.
I think character-wise, it's the best piece of the armor. Like, it's the control. I got all the function. But as an actual real human who had to wear the helmet for 3 months, it was definitely the worst piece of the armor.
Colton had to wear shoes. He wore shoes. He was like, this isn't so bad.
The thing that was bad for Colton, though, is that we didn't have enough boots. So Colton, who plays Herman in the movie, like he had to share his boots with his stunt double. And if you've ever put on somebody else's shoes who's been sweating in them for like 12 hours, it's not a good experience. He said it was basically a swamp every time he pulled those things on.
I think you would like take the boots off and then turn them over and dump out sweat. That's how gross it was.
You're right? Gavin, at least do it into the microphone.
Do you want to show
Yeah. Should we? Do we have all of them? Everything on the thing, or just the trailer? Let's play the trailer real quick. You got a trailer? Okay. Just to refresh everybody's memories of what the movie looks like.
real quick, how long do we have for the panel?
I think we have an hour for this panel.
So we'll probably get into questions pretty quickly, I would imagine,
Yeah,
right?
we'll look at the trailer and then we'll talk. We'll get you guys some questions from you guys. All right, cool. So now that you've seen that, I can tell you what it is. So that's Jeff Williams did the score for the movie,
And he was in that frame on the right side. He was the guy, the skinny guy with long hair, like bouncing up and down. That was Jeff Williams,
the guy
composer for Ruby.
the guy who looks like he came out of a '70s rock band that's Jeff. If you guys know Jeff, because he does all the music for Ruby, and he did the music for Red vs. Blue for seasons 8 through 10, and he did the score for this. And this was the first time that we've had the opportunity to actually record with a full orchestra. So I actually went up to Boston, and this is recorded in Boston with the Video Game Orchestra, which is a great group that has done recordings with, they did the score for Final Fantasy and a bunch of other video games and like just some really big stuff. So a really great group. And we got them to record the score for Lazer Team. And this was actually, that clip that you just saw was their first practice. They were sight reading the music on that, which I think sounded pretty darn good. So when you see the movie, I hope that that'll be apparent to you how much work they put into the orchestra and the presentation of everything.
And the orchestral score was one of the last stretch goals that we hit. I think it was like 3/4 of the way through the campaign we got to that one. Because we would alternate between a stretch goal that was for the movie itself, but because we knew the movie was going to take about a year to make, we also wanted to include some stretch goals for other things that people could see before the movie came out. So there was a lot of Rooster Teeth stretch goals in there as well, like, you know, special episodes of like Let's Play.
Strangerhood season 2.
Strangerhood season 2 was in there. Like little things like that. So this was a really cool one. That was a great milestone for us to be able to hit. And I think when you see the movie, you're going to love the score.
Yeah, and the soundtrack will actually be out next week, I think, when the movie, right, like either the day the movie comes out or the day after.
So, I mean, one thing that happens like with Star Wars and stuff is they like put the soundtrack out and they unintentionally put in spoilers in the titles of it, you know, like Qui-Gon's death theme and stuff like that.
We do have one song called Aliens Win. So sorry about that. Just skip over that track.
All right, do you want to take some questions now or do you want to show something else?
I think we should take some questions.
Is
And
that
if
are
we
we
can
set up
find
to do
something
that?
else to show, we will. But let's take some questions. Do we have another mic that we can pass around?
I'll do it. Let's do this. Come on. All right.
Bernie's taking charge, everybody.
Hey, what's up?
First of all, just want to say congratulations on the movie, guys. It's amazing. Just wondering, what advantages do you think a crowdfunded movie has over a traditionally funded movie?
What advantages does a crowdfunding movie have? Was that the question? Well, I think the biggest advantage we had was money. No, actually, the money thing always, is like the most obvious thing, right? But really what was great about the crowdfunding was that we felt like we had 40,000 people, individuals cheering us on and saying, you got to do this. because we talked a lot about how there's so many productions going on at Rooster Teeth that it's always seemed like it was going to be like the next thing that we got to with, doing a movie. But it was so big an undertaking, we were, having a hard time figuring out when and how we could do it. And having 40,000 people, the backers, saying, we believe in you, you can do this, and go get it done right now, was really like emotionally supercharging and inspiring. So I think that like in terms of crowdfunding anything, I think that almost has a bigger impact than the money in some ways.
I think one of the things that I'm proudest of is that, first of all, we made a movie we've been wanting to make for years and years, but I'm also proud that we had a crowdfunding campaign that we actually delivered on, which sadly is getting to be a less and less frequent thing. We hear about we talk about it on the podcast all the time, there's a crowdfunding thing, and then it's like, it just never arrives at any point in time, which is kind of sad.
My question is actually for you, Bernie.
Hey, okay, great. You guys can take a break.
Last night, you said that Lazer Team was that project that always kept on getting thrown back, it always kept on getting pushed back because there was other stuff that you wanted to do. The first part is, how long has it sort of been in your mind? How long has it been kept getting pushed back, and what were the reasons for that?
We have, at the company, we have pitch sessions on a regular basis, and this was a pitch session. If you've been watching Rooster Teeth for a while, this was a pitch session that we had in the old Congress office, where it was just the 7 of us over that restaurant with the big blue mural on the wall, where we first started making shorts. That's where we had a pitch session. Hey, what's up? Where we had a pitch session that was this, and Day 5 was in there as well, and then some other productions that we haven't done yet. So I'd say it's been, before we started working on it, we had the idea for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it's been a while, and it went through a few permutations onto the way to being what it ended up being on screen. There was really just Laser Man when we started.
If we didn't raise
we
enough
added
money,
some more people to it.
it would have been Laser Guy. Yeah.
This is just a question for all of you guys. What was the biggest hurdle in the actual movie? Was it just the funding, or during making it, or actually distributing it?
The thong. Wearing a thong almost every single day that wedged itself inches inside of you was the strongest hurdle for me. But I kind of grew to like it near the end.
My favorite thing about, speaking of being uncomfortable, was watching Bernie try and get out of his suit every day.
It's all the shoulders. You couldn't get him off the shoulders. That's the hard part.
He would look like a half-peeled banana that like strained his back, trying to be like, "Ugh, can't."
We get to the end of the day and everybody's just doing this.
You could get it on super easy, but then once it like got over your shoulders, it would just lock into place. And there were days where I couldn't get out of it unless I had help. So I'd say the toughest part of it for me was, just approaching it as a movie. Gavin put it best, is that, we wanted to make the Rooster Teeth movie. We didn't want to make Rooster Teeth the movie. And so we had to walk this fine line of making a movie that our audience, who watches all of our other content, would like, but that wouldn't exclude people who would think there would be like a lot of inside jokes if we put those in. And for those of you that have seen the movie, there's a lot of references in the background to Rooster Teeth stuff, a lot of hidden Easter eggs in it, but there's no really direct references to Rooster Teeth really at any point in the movie, I don't think. We were really careful about walking that line. They have a mic out there running around.
Let's get somebody from way in the back. Can you run down there to somebody way in the back?
He was all set up here, and now you're making him run all the way over there.
Yeah, they have their hands up. There you go.
Hey, what was the hardest part when you're working long productions and maybe things get a bit tense between team members on a long day? How did you guys sort of overcome that and maybe put that behind you and all that sort of stuff?
What was the hardest part about working on doing other productions at the same time?
Yeah, just the high stress between crew and team members.
And how do we put it behind us?
Just how do you get past that?
How do we put the
not let it
pain
get to
behind
you?
us? I think the hardest part was actually also an advantage, which was most of the movie was filmed at night. So, like the 4 of us were out every single night for 12 hours, from sundown to sun up. And then if we had other Rooster Teeth stuff to do, we would go in the morning right after our all-night shoot and do our Rooster Teeth stuff.
Yeah.
And then go and sleep for like 2 hours and then go back to the set. So
And I gotta say, the biggest burden for that really fell on Matt, because we didn't want to stop making all the web shows that everybody watches while we made a movie for a year and then like show up after a year of no content and say, here's the movie, you know, because we know everyone else would be gone by that point. The audience would be gone. So we made sure we could still make the content. And like this side of the stage, we were the main people who worked on the movie during the production. We were the main Rooster Teeth personalities that were there. And then everyone else here was like, after the movie was done, for the 10 months after that, this is the team that like really dedicated themselves to getting it done. Brian Beam and Josh Flanagan are two others that really worked a long time on the movie. So it's like we were really careful not to take like big chunks of people out to make Lazer Team. But I got to give a lot of credit to Matt, because Matt was there the entire way through the process.
I got to take a lot of credit.
Yeah. All while doing his CEO duties. It was.
No, well, I mean, Bernie's being nice, but I mean, everybody worked really hard in the movie. These guys literally froze themselves nearly to death. They were wearing spandex suits in negative temperatures, you know, for 35 nights in a row. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah, there was that one night where after each take they would give us blankets, and then we ran over to the warm lights to try and warm up. And at one point I got too close to the light and my blanket caught on fire.
Michael, it was one time he did it.
It was like 100
All right,
times.
I may
Every
have-
time.
I may have
He
caught
would just
fire
stand
several
there,
times.
He's just standing there, and there's just smoke coming off him. Like, Gavin, you're on fire. And
And
he's
I was like,
yeah,
it
but
doesn't
it's
matter.
nice and warm.
It feels nice. But my favorite part of shooting at night was I learned that Bernie hates the sunrise.
I don't
just hates it.
Yeah, like every time the sun would come up at like 7 a.m., he'd be like, God damn the sun. I was like, what do you hate the sun for?
I just hate the sunrise. And
Why doesn't make any sense?
We filmed the movie at
He's
night.
been a secret vampire this whole time.
When you see the
We were finding out.
sunset,
It's like, this is why you don't like garlic. I finally figured it out.
the sunset is beautiful. If you're up when the sun is coming up, you've done something wrong in your life.
You made a movie.
You've been out way too late, you're way too drunk, and that light hits you, and you're like, you know, or...
I get that in general, but like we're on the set of the film. We just called cut, and then Bernie walks over and he's like, fucking sun's coming up. Bullshit. Like, it'll be fine.
It's my trigger.
We got somebody over here who set his hand up for a long time.
Chris and Aaron, in the post.
I didn't know you were going to ask Chris and Aaron a question.
Yeah,
Hey, take the mic back. No,
I'm so excited.
Yeah. How was the editing process? Because was it only 3 of you? Was it you 2 and Josh doing the bulk
Well,
of the
Josh
editing?
isn't here, so I'm gonna say he didn't edit at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
There was also one other.
There was one other
and
editor,
then a lot of assistant editors and.
and Matt came in and then he erased everything we did and then started over. So Matt's an editor. No, it was mostly I think 3 of us and some
one
here
other
and there.
person, but I mean, it's a weird process whenever you're editing, and then you also see the people like every single day.
It's a miserable process. It's having to listen to their voices over and over again for 12 hours. That's your question?
Well, no one had good like environmental conditions during the movie, during the filming, and so I thought it would be best to keep up that spirit, you know, during the post-production phase. So the 3 of them were crammed in a little tiny broom closet that was like where the air conditioning unit turned on, but there was no actual air conditioning in the room. Kind of like here, it just turned on really loud, and there was this giant gong mechanical noise, and they had to edit through that in the heat.
We had
for
to yell at each other whenever we,
3
you know,
months.
talk. We're only a couple feet from each other, and it's just we're like, well, how's the edit going? For 3 months.
And also, what was the hardest part to edit? What scene, without giving too much away, do you think?
What was the hardest part, the hardest scene to film?
Visually, yeah.
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, that is a tough one to say without giving too much away. There's a scene that that got cut from the movie that I know Bernie was your favorite scene, right?
It was one of the most expensive scenes, too.
It was one of the most expensive scenes.
Matt fought so hard to keep it in the movie, and then we shot it, and it was one of the hardest nights of shooting, and then the sun came up at the end. It was awful. And then Matt ends up cutting it, which totally makes sense.
It does. It's better. I mean, we're going to put on the, like, we'll put it out at some point, you know, so people can see it. But it's that was a night. It was a really brutal shoot because it was a scene we needed like 2 or 3 days to film. We only had 1 day or 1 night. And Bernie got injured. Bernie's stunt double got badly injured.
Yep. Not too badly.
Yeah.
Just his head. That was it.
So it was that was rough, and I felt like very protective of it. And then I think it was actually Chris that said, "Hey, you know what? This movie plays better without the scene," so I just got rid of that.
Chris cut it immediately. He was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, and then
Oops.
So actually, I have a question here from Twitter from somebody who's watching the live stream. It's the Hungry Foodie. Wants to know, are there any learnings you can take from Lazer Team production and apply to other Rooster Teeth productions?
I mean, I'm gonna jump in there. I think absolutely. Like, just from the shorts and stuff that I've done at my time at Rooster Teeth, and then Lazer Team was by far the biggest production we've ever done. I mean, it was insane. Coming off of Lazer Team, I have seen so much of that just bleed into Rooster Teeth, where it's just been like incredible, where it's like, I feel like everything we film at this point now is like a mini Lazer Team.
I think a concrete example of that is that if a good indication of the impact of Lazer Team on Rooster Teeth and the other productions is the Achievement Hunter podcast, the off-topic set, because that set was made by the art department that exists because of what we did on Lazer Team.
Yeah,
and it was Marcus who designed all that and his team. So it's like, if not for Lazer Team, the Age podcast wouldn't have such an awesome set that everybody's envious of.
Sometimes I like to think, what would the off-topic podcast set look like without Marcus? It'd probably be just like a ping pong table with some paper cups.
We have the TV screen in the back with the logo. It would have been a chalkboard, and I would have drawn something on it. And then there would have been one of those like plastic folding poker tables. That would have been the set.
It'd basically be Ryan's old desk.
Yeah, that's actually pretty accurate.
And those things are hugely motivating too, because when you see the set being built, everyone got super excited about it. Not that we weren't excited about the podcast to begin with, but it's like, then the set rolls out and it's like, everybody's walking on the set and getting beer and everything else.
Like Marcus, I gave him like 2 suggestions. I was like, hey, can you do this and this? And he was like, I'll come up with something. Yeah. And then 2 weeks later, he goes, hey, sorry, I put the taps in for the kegs, but only 2 of them work.
I know.
I was like, oh, only 2 of them?
But it's really like immersion in other shows. It's like you can see the impact of just the art department.
Five Nights at Freddy, if you've seen that, or The Fallout. Again, I mean, like, incredible. There's the production value.
Yeah, and the fact that Day 5 is finally going into production too. That's an offshoot of the feature.
Yeah, and a lot of the same. Actually, we shot a pilot, like it's not really a pilot, but like a test shoot for Day 5 before we did Lazer Team.
Yeah.
And that's how we kind of assembled a lot of the crew for Lazer Team, including people like Marcus and Doreen. And then those people went on to be full-time at Rooster Teeth, and now we are getting back into production on Day 5. I think they do have that video for us.
What do they got?
Finally, this is a trailer that we haven't put online and that we just made for fun, actually for ourselves internally, but I thought you guys might want to watch it. It's just kind of fun. It has some different clips in it.
Oh, okay. Did you want to play that while we're in Australia so badly because it has AC/DC in it?
You don't know it.
Yeah. Figured that was
Australia's
it.
favorite sons.
All right, how about somebody towards the back a little bit? Somebody's got something in their hand that they're holding up. Yeah, it's okay. You can, yeah, that's great.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going good. Thanks for your question.
I was just wondering, what was like the worst injury anyone got through filming?
Matt did schedule my biggest stunt in the movie on the last day of production as the last shot of the day. And it sent a very clear message to me, which is, if you get hurt on this or crippled, that's fine. We're done.
Well, we had a really great stunt coordinator, and I told him early on that I wanted to use a really great stunt team, and we had a lot of great stunt doubles. But then I also wanted these guys to be on camera doing stunts as much as was possible. And stunt coordinator Jeff was his name, had a great saying, which was about stunts. He said, anybody can do it once.
Yep.
Meaning, if you die, you can't do it a second time. And the key is to be able to do it twice. And so there was one stunt that I was like, I really feel like I need all 4 of the guys like on camera. It's a big stunt. It's probably dangerous, but I really feel like I need their faces on camera. And Bernie's was the worst one of the stunts. And Jeff just looked at me and said, well, let's do that one on the last day. We might only be able to do that one once. So.
Yeah, and it involves the hood of a car. And the hood of the car is now like hanging on my wall in my office. So if you ever seen the vlog, there's a big metal thing behind me. That's the hood of the truck from Lazer Team, which was involved in that stunt.
Bernie versus truck. Bernie won. Truck 0.
I'd say the worst that anybody, was hurt or damaged during the movie though was the day that Gavin got food poisoning, and he was in such bad shape in his spandex suit. He had a bunch of toilet paper shoved down the back, and he had like this like weird lump in his butt from where the toilet paper was.
I took a picture of it too. We should put it on the DVD. He's just standing there with his spandex suit and just tons of crumpled toilet paper right in his rectum, so he didn't quote leak.
It was actually, look, I couldn't help it, all right? It was actually on a day where I had like the really long lines. Like I had an absolute paragraph, and I was like doing all the line, I'd be like cut, and I would just like fall to the ground in the fetal position, just like, oh God. And
It also it found a weird thing, like, how many of you actually, some of you were backers for the film, did anybody here come all the way out to Austin, Texas for one of the shoots? Is anybody here that did that? No? Okay. Well,
They're still in Austin.
Yeah, some of the people,
We got stuck.
the backers came all the way out to do it, and they know how cold it was. Every night we shot was super, super cold, except for that night when it was outrageously hot that one night, which was infinitely worse than being cold, because those suits in the heat were just like sandpaper.
Yeah, I had to change out my toilet paper a few times.
Oh God! All right, another one. Yeah, how about right here?
With the trophy?
Hands straight up. There you go. That's great.
Hi.
Hi.
I was just wondering, on top of the Indiegogo campaign, like how much extra budget you had? Because you said you were still going to make the movie even if you didn't complete the campaign.
Well, I mean, the advantage we had was that I didn't pay any of them.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I mean, no, but seriously, the advantage we had was that, you know, with Rooster Teeth, we know a lot of ways to do things cheaply but effectively, and I don't think a movie like this can really be made for, you know, nowadays with, you know, in a big Hollywood way where you have big stunts and not figure out a way to do some other things that are really kind of smart. So we had other scenes that were like, that we knew were small scenes, and we just figured out a way to do them just kind of like at the studio. There was there's one scene that's actually pretty early in the movie that's just you, Bernie, and Michael rolling around in a cop car, and we literally shot that like behind stage 5.
After work one day.
After work, because it only required like 4 people to get it done. But I think it looks great. It looks like every other scene in the movie. So just trying to figure out smart ways like that necessarily, like, it didn't make the budget bigger, but it kept the budget from being what it would have been in a traditional kind of movie.
But I also want to point out too that like all the money that we raised from Indiegogo went on screen, and like everything we've done since the movie's been made, you know, like partnering with YouTube Red and things like that. That's what's enabling us to do all that marketing now that we're doing to make people aware of the film, because, you know, the general public's not going to become aware of a $2.5 million movie just on their own. You know, we got to make some effort to make the general public aware of it, which is one of the big reasons for us making Lazer Team to begin with. This gentleman has a trophy right here. That seems like a good way to get attention.
Hi, I just seen there's been a few award snubs lately, so I went out of my way to make sure you got the Best of the Fantastic Four Movie of the Year award.
Matt, you want to accept the... It's not in the critical review trailer that we just put out, but there's my favorite quote from a film critic is they called it the best use of the jack-off hand motion in cinema history. That's a good one for the DVD cover, I think. So, which you will hopefully understand when you see the movie. Let's get some people on the side over here. How about this young lady right here on the side? How much time do we have, by the way? We good?
I was just wondering if you could be any other character in the movie, what would you be?
I would be Alan Richardson's abs. What would you be?
I think I would be, I can't even remember his character's name, but Kirk's character.
Officer Vandenbloom.
Yeah, he was fantastic. He was my favorite like bit character in that movie, where Kirk was just phenomenal. Every scene he was in, he would just go on and on. Like, he'd stretch out a scene by 5 minutes, and we knew we weren't going to use it because it was a 1-minute scene. And we're just like, Kirk, leave! But he was just so damn funny.
There was there's one character in the movie who ends up being like a top military guy's right-hand man, essentially, and his name's Officer Vandenbloom. But in the script, the character didn't exist. He was like an amalgamation of like 7 or 8 different characters. And he's played by this guy, Kirk Johnson. And he just came in and he did such a funny job on the first like little bit part that we just had him come in again and do the next bit part and the next one. And then like what was 7 or 8 different parts just became one character. So it's like if you read the script, you won't see this character like on the page, but he turned it into a character in the making of the movie.
And since then, he's been on the spot, and he's actually got a major role in another series that we're producing that we haven't yet announced. So
we can announce it.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're doing 3 really huge series for 2016. Day 5, which I know a lot of you have heard of.
Yep.
And 2 comedies. One's called Crunch Time, and that is going to be starring Kirk.
Yep. And that one's already done. Like, it's already been produced. We just haven't talked about it before.
Yeah. And we'll have some more news about that later during the con. And then Aaron is writing and developing a 3rd show for us called Kleptos.
You want me to say something?
It's
great.
your moment to shine.
And I'm going to start working on it tomorrow, I promise you. As soon as I get back.
That one's much later in the year. The first one that'll come out will be Crunch Time, and then Day 5. And then we're also in the process of taking the featured production groups that we've built because of Lazer Team, and we're producing a series of documentaries this year that are much in the same vein as the Let's Play Live documentary that we did. So looking forward to all that stuff. How about right here in the blue shirt?
Hey, Gavin, were you as abused in the Lazer Team set as you are in the Achievement Hunter office, or was it pretty tame?
Well, there was a lot of stuff going on the Lazer Team set where we got other stuff from, like $1 million butt evolved from just like the dumb crap that I would ask people on Lazer Team.
Gavin did a lot of the torturing on the set. He would just harass Colton in particular with just question after question, like $1 million butt questions. So
do you know
the show was born out of that?
When you think about it, like out of context, like all the crew people who didn't know, because we hired a bunch of professional, movie crew from Austin and Texas, like surrounding areas, to work in the movie who didn't know us at all when we started. They must have thought Gavin was like the weirdest person on earth, because like you were like shoving toilet paper, up your butt on every scene, and then you had you were setting. That's what I heard. And then you were setting fire to blankets.
Yeah.
And then every time you come into a conversation, it was like, Gavin's over there talking about if you had $1 million or had to eat your own poop every day.
Or your anus has an eyelid.
Colton was fascinated and horrified by you within a week. He was like, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
He would get fed up. He'd be like, oh, this shit again? And then he'd get super into it. He'd be like, all right, so the eyelid is on like which side of my anus? And he'd like ask all these questions, and he'd get super into it. And by the end of it, he was like throwing them back at us and stuff. It was great.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like it was a great shoot, and everybody on set was amazing. One of the things is because we cast half of the principal cast from outside of Rooster Teeth, I think we were all a little bit concerned that if we're hiring people with traditional established Hollywood careers, we were going to get somebody who would be a pain in the ass. But that just didn't happen. Like, Alan was amazing.
It was just Michael.
Just Michael, that was it. All right, let's go right here. The fun part of this is making you run. Yeah, how about right here in the purple shirt? Right there.
Hiya. Just wondering, the explosion in the woods about halfway through the movie, was that special effects or pyrotechnics?
That was all real. That was 100% pyrotechnics. And that was another one that I really thought to keep in the movie because I thought it would be just so much fun to do. And Chris tried to cut. Come on, Chris. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't try to cut that one. But yeah, most of the explosions and kind of like big spark hits and stuff like that is all real in the movie. Like we wanted it to have a really authentic look and look like it could have been a movie that was made in the 70s or early 80s. And we even went and got lenses that were made in that era and had been used on sci-fi films from the late 70s because we wanted to have that feeling. Even though it's shot digitally, it hopefully captures a little bit of that essence.
Yeah, even the stuff that had to be CG, like a spaceship spiraling out of the air, when it hits the ground, all the explosions were real. Just the actual spaceship was CG. So even the heavy CG stuff had a lot of practical elements to it.
I also want to add when we showed up and the ship has crashed in the field, Michael, that trench was about 80
Oh my
feet long
God.
and 6 feet deep. And Gavin goes,
No, well, first we got there. It's a huge trench. Like, in person, it looks even bigger,
Yeah.
you know, than on set. And I think we overheard how long it took to make the trench, and it was like a day or two
Yeah.
with like machinery. Gavin walks up the trench and he goes, I could have done this by myself. And we're like, what? And he's like, oh, take me 12 hours. We're like, what are you talking about?
I
It's
feel like I could dig a trench in 12 hours.
I could do it. Just give me a shovel. It's like Bernie and I it enraged us.
Yeah,
Like,
it
what
did.
the hell are you talking about?
And then I realized that my only experience with digging is like building sandcastles on the beach. So maybe not.
all right, let's go. There was somebody right over there in a Funhouse shirt, I think, that had a question.
Skip them.
Or maybe it's right behind them, There you go.
For Michael and Gavin especially, growing up watching Rooster Teeth, what was it like when they asked you to star in the movie?
Dream come true. Actually, I was thinking this the other day when I saw one of the billboards that's up in Times Square. It's like an 8-story billboard, and I'm just stood next to Bernie on it, and I was like, whoa, I don't know how did my life lead from me being like a 14-year-old kid watching Red vs. Blue to being, 8 stories tall with Bernie on the side of a building. I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, I'm with Gavin. Like, I still am kind of convinced that it's not me in the movie. I don't know. I remember and going back to like a question earlier and what Bernie was saying. Bernie, was talking about Lazer Team to me when I started in 2011, and I remember him just saying, I don't even know if they had the name of the movie yet, or if he mentioned it. He was like, we're working on something, and Bernie was like, I think you might be good for a part if you're interested, but he's kind of an asshole, so I don't know if I don't want to typecast you. And I was like, I'd be interested. And then 2.5 years later, he's just like, hey, we're doing that movie. You want to audition for it? Okay. It became real when Bernie sent me a text message. I hadn't even gotten the part yet, and this is maybe 6 weeks before filming started. And I was in Dallas with Lindsay, and I get a text message from Bernie, and he was like, hey, would you be interested in getting a personal trainer for the movie?
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. I'd never gone to the gym in my life before. And I was like, did I get the part? And he's like, oh, I don't know, but do you want to start going to the gym? I think I went to the gym with you. We ended up going to the same gym for a month. And I'm like, I better be in this fucking movie. I'm going to be pissed if I'm not.
Yeah, but Michael, the preparation he did for the role was amazing. It's like our only regret was not getting him in the gym sooner, because he just packed on so much muscle, because he had to play a quarterback, so.
Yeah, no, actually, really all 3 of these guys did a phenomenal job before the movie getting ready. They all went and worked out and just got in shape and prepped for their roles. Gavin did a lot of, you did dialogue
I was
work,
about to say,
right?
what did Gavin do?
No,
I grew a mustache.
He did, his American accent training was,
That's right.
yeah, because he was in vocal coaching for
and
months.
mustache coaching. That was tough stuff. But really, they really prepared for their roles, and I have to say, it was really just an incredible experience for me getting able to work with them, because there was never a day where I showed up and somebody was on set and we were like, well, I don't want to get in the suit today. Ooh, they were all always ready, always excited, and always bringing new ideas to the set. So it was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but when we finished filming, I was totally bummed that it was over. I was depressed for a few days.
There's a letdown at the end of it. You were like, I wanted to keep doing this forever.
Yeah, it was great.
I was a little let down because the movie was ending, and we weren't going to see all these amazing people that we had met, and worked with over the last 2.5 months. But the real kicker was I still had to work with Gavin.
All right, I'll let you guys pick.
There's somebody in the front row right here. He's been waiting a while.
All the way up here? Where's the mic?
Michael, you want to hand her your mic?
Yeah.
I talked into my water bottle just now.
I had a different question, but now that you brought up vocal training, I did it for 7 years, and there's always weird exercises that you get to do. Did you ever do any really weird, fucked up vocal exercises?
Oh yeah, they had me making the worst noises ever.
Did you ever do the Greeks?
What's that?
It's where you stand and you just put yourself in a really weird position, and then you just go,
Oh yeah. Well, I do that on a daily basis, so. No, at one point I was face down on the floor, and the vocal coach was like shoving my back as I was making noises, and I was like, what am I doing right now?
Open your diaphragm.
Yeah, I was using like my back piece of my spine to make a noise, apparently.
We went through some coaching stuff, you know, with some formal acting training, just like warm-ups and things like that to get ready. And some of those exercises got a little weird, and the way our coach was a little hippie-ish. And I'll never forget, I'm like, I had to stare into Michael's eyes for like 5 minutes. We're just sitting there, nose to nose, just looking at each other, while this lady stands between us going, all right, now just exist in the other person's space and do this. And Michael goes, fuck this. I think that's the most intimate moment you and I have ever shared.
There was some, I mean, and the thing was, like, we all, it's like whatever, you know, she suggested, we tried it. You know, we were there, we wanted to do as good as we possibly could do for the movie, we tried it. That doesn't mean after the fact we were like, what the fuck was that? That was crazy. Like, and I'm sure it's all, like, the biggest thing is Lindsay going, being like a theater major. She's like, oh yeah, I know that. Like, everything we did, I'm like, this is crazy. And she's like, oh, I did that all the time.
But it's really valuable because then you pick up like 1 or 2 things out of like 5 sessions, and then you use those, and those are tools you use for the rest of your career. So
I do remember one time we did one like exercise where we just like, she was like, just wander around the room and explore the area. Maybe you pick something up. You know, maybe you look at it, maybe you don't. And you had your wallet on the counter, and I picked it up and just went through all your money on the wall. I was like, I'm not doing it though. I'm acting.
You were in the moment.
I may have taken some money.
Well, we got to wrap up. I would say thank you to everybody for supporting the movie.
Yes.
It was a huge deal for us, labor of love for us, and I feel like it was a labor of love for the community as well. And we can't tell you how much we appreciate that. And thank you for going to see it in the theaters. We're really excited everybody gets a chance to do that.
And if you still don't have tickets to see it in the theaters, there's still ability to buy tickets for Tug screenings that have been confirmed, and they are all over Australia. Hope you guys will see it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Love you.